Hi, friends. I read Return from Tomorrow by George G. Ritchie, and this is one of those rare books that I've actually read twice, which, if you know me, says a lot. It's a really easy read, but at the same time, it's one of those books that just stays with you. Not because it's complicated, but because of what it makes you think about afterward. This book was written back in 1978, so it's actually one of the older books I have. And I think that makes it even more interesting because this wasn't written during a time when near-death experiences were widely talked about the way they are now. At the age of 20, George Ritchie died in an army hospital. And 9 minutes later, he was brought back to life. 9 minutes. And what he experienced during that time didn't just affect him in the moment, it completely changed the direction of his life afterward. What really stood out to me, and honestly what kind of stuck with me the most, is that when he came back, he was actually angry that they revived him. And that's such a strong reaction that it makes you pause. Because you start wondering, what did he experience that made him feel that way? What did he see or feel that made coming back here feel like a loss or a burden? The way the book is written is very straightforward. It's very personal. And it doesn't try to overwhelm you or convince you of anything. It just tells his experience. And I think that's why it works so well. You can read it and just sit with it without feeling that you're being pushed in any direction. But what really gives this book weight is what happened after his experience. It didn't just stay his story. His account actually had a ripple effect that reached beyond him and into research on near-death experiences. For example, Dr. Raymond Moody, who later wrote Life After Life, which is one of the most well-known books on near-death experiences, was deeply influenced by George Ritchie's story. In fact, Ritchie was one of the people who inspired Moody to start studying these experiences more seriously. Moody spent years researching similar cases, talking to people who had gone through something like this, and looking for patterns in what they experienced. And that eventually helped shape how near-death experiences are talked about today. So this book isn't just a personal story. It's kind of part of the foundation of a much bigger conversation. And I think that's what makes it so interesting, especially considering when it was written so long ago. For me, this is one of those books that sits right in between curiosity and belief. If you question what happens after death, it gives you something real to think about. And if you already feel like there's something more, it kind of reinforces that feeling in a very quiet but powerful way. It's not loud. It's not trying to prove anything. It just presents an experience and lets you decide what to do with it. And those are usually the ones that stay with you the longest. This is definitely one I've held onto for years, and there's a reason I've gone back and read it again. If you've read it, I'd really love to hear what you thought about it. Bye, friends.